Every year, thousands of planes take off and land at New York City's two major airports. Along with nearby Newark Airport, the skies above the city can become as crowded as a rush hour highway. Flights move in and out 7 days a week without mishap, and air travel has become as routine as taking a bus. But with a quiet eye on the airports, the fire department is always preparing. Training that ranges from daily drills in the firehouse to large interagency drills that take place on a citywide level. Training for that day we all hope will never come. On the evening of March 22, 1992, with a late winter snowstorm lashing New York, that dreaded day arrived. Flight 405 leaving LaGuardia bound for Cleveland never made it off the ground. Losing control, the jet careened off the runway, hit a berm, and broke into pieces. A large part of the fuselage came to rest in the frigid waters of the river with people still inside. Within minutes of the crash, a full second alarm assignment was rolling to the assembly point at LaGuardia Airport, along with the special units an airport box calls for. The fire department was able to bring more of the needed personnel and equipment to the scene than all the other city agencies combined. Rescue and communication trucks, foam and command units, the engine and ladder companies with the people, equipment, and skills to do as much as humanly possible.
As we pulled out the door, the dispatcher gave us a definite plane crash in the water with fire. And it was running through my head again that this was another scene of Flight 5050, but I wasn't really ready for the devastation that was going to be up and coming. We were the first truck at the staging area, and when everyone else arrived, we proceeded into the airport via escort. When we arrived at the scene, the lieutenant immediately ordered us to take all our portable ladders and to ladder the plane and any other equipment that we might need. As soon as all the equipment was on the plane or at the site, I immediately went back to the tower ladder and tried to position it into a good spot where we could use the 95-foot bucket. We backed into a position right in front of the plane, and by orders of the chief, we set up the tower ladder. We used the lights, and he used it as an observation post.
Each company found themselves engaged in different tasks, all working toward the common goal of helping any of those who may have survived.
We descended the seawall. The members in the survival suits got into the water. They worked their way all the way around the plane, looking for survivors. Now we had to concentrate on the plane itself. We climbed into the smoldering wreckage, worked our way through it from the tail section that was on fire up to the nose section that the fire hadn't damaged. We looked through it, any possible places for survivors.
And what we had to do was act as a support unit for the rescue companies, and we set up some assembly lines. First of all, we had to ladder this wall and put all the ladders, all the portable ladders we had on the site up against this wall and down, bridge the wall. And we had to lash a rope to the aircraft itself so that we didn't lose that. When we first got there, the plane was on fire. We put the fire out. There was a lot of heavy, acrid black smoke from the jet fuel. When the fire was extinguished and the smoke cleared, lifted a bit, we saw that the front part of the plane was upside down. I myself didn't notice it until I saw a placard on the side of the plane. It was for one of the fuel intakes or some sort of valve, and it was upside down. And then we realized there was no windows, and this whole front of the plane was upside down, and the tail part was right side up. So this thing was twisted, broken in half, and in the water. Temperatures that night were sub-freezing. The water was icy. There was a strong wind coming off the water. The snow that was on the ground was gradually freezing to ice. And we didn't have much dry land to work on, but we had to set up generators. We had to get stretchers in their backboards, blankets. We had to bring in lights, hearse tools, any type of equipment you can imagine and we set up an assembly line. I myself was working in this area of water that was about 2.5 feet deep. Fortunately, I had a good pair of boots. We were just shuttling tools back and forth, and on our trip back, we were bringing suitcases, pieces of seats, pieces of scrap metal, and unfortunately, soon after that, bodies as they were coming out. I myself, one vivid memory I have is I wound up going to the hospital at the end of the night to be treated for hypothermia, and I had some jet fuel in my eyes. I needed to be washed out, and I remember looking at the scene before I left in an ambulance, and I remember the triage area that we had roped off now looked like a makeshift graveyard. I remember seeing at the time we had about 15 bodies out of the aircraft, lying in the snow, covered with blankets, and there were a few clergymen from different religious sects giving them last rites. It was pretty powerful, and I'll never be able to forget that.